All right, Shalom, giving all glory and praise and honor that's due to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, the bishops, the great millstones, GMS. Peace and mercy and grace to the household of faith, the election. In this lesson, man, I was inspired to just talk about, being the poor, the rich. I had recently rewatched Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, banging banger. That was a classic movie. I was just kind of thinking, riding through the streets of Atlanta, downtown, and just thinking about all the crime because I had a client, and the client had just told me that they just got in town and their luggage was robbed, and I was like, well, welcome to Atlanta. I didn't say that out loud, but I was just thinking, welcome to Atlanta. Because crime is definitely getting high out here with car break-ins, with thefts. People are popping up on Ring cameras. I seen a Ring camera of someone, two guys staking out a house, masked up. And, it's real easy because when these things happen, Edomites and heathen, particularly Esau, they be on the internet talking shit and calling Jake out for being the usual suspect. And I do the same, right? But one thing that hit me, I was like, I thought about that movie, Traded Places, and in that movie, well, I'm gonna play the trailer, but economics, play a big portion in, behavior of people. And we're seeing that because the economic situation is so drastically different than what it used to be 10 years ago, 20 years ago, with everything being so much higher, so many jobs being, less available, so many opportunities, shifting and changing to digital, and then AI coming and taking over that. It's putting people in, it's a lot of pressure being felt by people, and they're resorting to not giving a damn about stuff. They're stealing more. They're cheating more. They don't have the human connection is compromised, so people don't give a fuck about each other. That's Matthew 24:12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. That word iniquity goes into lawlessness, sin, and that's what's happening. It's abounding. It's peaking. So people have no care about taking from you in order to take care of themselves. And so I'm going to play this trailer. It's only a minute and a half, and we'll go from there.
Sorry about that, man. It's just help. Hey, I don't want your bag, man.
Get out! He's getting away!
I'll bet that man could run our company as well as Winthorpe.
This is outrageous. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not a thief.
We want to help you, Mr. Valentine, with a home of your own.
And that was a fake, right?
We paid $35,000 for it. And employment with our company.
What's going to happen to me?
I'm gonna regret this, but get in.
Champagne for everybody.
You are making a career decision here.
This man is physically threatening me. He's being driven around in my car. He could be living in my house.
Hey! Have you people ever heard of toasters?
You're a dead man, Valentine!
It was produced.
Classic, man. Yes, and it's so spiritual because it's a so-called white man and a so-called black man, which is clearly in the spirit represent Jacob and Esau. We'll go ahead and start here. Deuteronomy 28 and 13 and 44. This is 13. And the Lord shall make thee the head. Oh, so this is the blessing, right, for obedience. And then you have the curse. I'm going to get the curse in verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. Let me start up a verse. Deuteronomy 28:43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Let's look up stranger. What's stranger right there? Which is Gar. Sojourner, foreigners in Israel. Sojourner, alien. All right, gawar, the root word to sojourn, to seek hospitality, stir up trouble. You know, ultimately, the strange people, the Edomites, you know, ended up becoming high over us because that's who the earth had been given into, the wicked. And they've gotten very high and we've gotten very low, you know, and they're the lenders. They're the bankers. You know, we talk about the elites, the banking families. They're the ones doing all the lending. It says, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head and thou shalt be the tail. That's what happened in the movie where this guy was the head. He went from being the head to being the tail. And when everything was taken from him, the bet between the people was they bet if everything was taken from him that he whether he would turn into crime or not, and vice versa with Eddie Murphy, who was, you know, living a life of crime at first because he didn't have anything. And so they ended up swapping roles due to people who had power and influence. They ended up just making a bet and using them to as guinea pigs. And that's what's going to happen, you know, when the Lord come back, that the people that are on this very low totem pole, all right, Israelites, let me get that chart, see where it is. Median income by ethnicity. And you're going to see literally who's at the bottom of this. There you go. Literally at the bottom is Hispanic, Latino Americans, and African Americans for median income. And this was in 2013 to 2015. Jake only averaging $35,000 a year, $40,000 a year. And then you go up, all of these heathens, Thais, Bangladesh Americans, white Americans up there close to 60, Pakistani, Chinese, 69, Japanese, all the way at the top, Indians, 100K. You know what they do? They in them tech fields, man. They dominate that tech space, making six figures annually, man. And you'll never know it from looking at them. They ain't flashy, none of that. Making 100K. And who you got at the tail? All right. So-called Hispanics, African Americans, the biblical Israelites fulfilling the curses. So what else? I got this. Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. And that's right. We are servants to our lenders, man. They got us in debt, slavery. Let me just look that up. Google debt slavery. Let's see if anything come up with that. Debt bondage, also known as debt slavery, bonded labor, or peonage, is the pledge of a person's services as security for the repayment for a debt or other obligation. Yeah, man. And that's why the curse said no man shall redeem thee. Nobody can get us out of this except for the Messiah. So last thing, I got these precepts on because there's nothing wrong with like it being a poor people, but there's supposed to be if this was a righteous kingdom, there would be things in place to support and, you know, provide for them and help them out, which the United States does have, you know, its welfare system or whatnot, but it's still wicked as hell though, man. Like you still got, because like on my way home a little while ago, I just saw a guy on the corner on the ground basically begging. He had his hands together in the praying emoji, like begging for somebody to stop and give him something to eat or so whatever he was asking for. And here it is. Meanwhile, the United States sending 8 billion, whatever billion all the way to Ukraine every goddamn 6 months. But yet you have the homeless here not being supported or being barely supported, you know? So like I said, it's what's wicked about it is the support isn't there now. In the righteous kingdom, these laws will be, you know, will be enacted, and that's why the scripture says when the righteous rule, you know, I ain't brought it out in forever. I'm just gonna get it real quick. Proverbs 22. Proverbs 29 maybe. Yeah, 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. That's self-explanatory. So provision of support. Leviticus 19 in 9 verses 9, 10, and 20, chapter 23, verse 22. Landowners were commanded to leave the edges of their fields unharvested and not pick up what fell during the harvest, so the poor and foreigners could gather food. See that? Deuteronomy 15, 7 and 11. Israelites were instructed to open their hands generously to the poor, lending to them as needed and not hardening their hearts. And that's talking about the poor amongst our own people. See, but once we rule this earth again, once we come into rulership of the entire earth, which is rulership again, because there was a time where we, under King Solomon, where we ruled a good portion of land. The heathen gonna be okay too. It's gonna be beneficial for everybody. After they, we get them right for 1,000 years, and free them, send them to their lands, and it's gonna be okay. It says Israelites were instructed to open their hands generously to the poor, lending to them as needed and not hardening their hearts. Exodus 22:25. If lending to the poor, no interest was to be charged, and that's what in this society they always charge a motherfucking interest. Interest on everything. If they give you anything, it's interest on it. Now you got some things that are interest free. Just make your payments in a year or something like that, interest free. But man, most of us live in our credit, and that credit got interest on it, man. Fair treatment. Exodus 23 and 6. Do not deny justice to your poor people in their lawsuits. In this society, if you're poor, your lawsuits, if you're poor, you fucked. Because it costs too much money to have a lawyer, to have legal counsel. And they got prepaid legal and stuff like that. But it ain't the same, man. Because people who got that bread, man, they have the best legal counsel, the best legal defenses. Money does a hell of a lot in this society, man. And it shouldn't be that way, but that's what it is. Politicians, judges, a lot of these people can be bought and paid for. Deuteronomy 24, 14 and 15. Employers were commanded to pay hired workers, especially the poor, promptly to meet their daily needs. Oh, yeah, because that's another thing. You're supposed to be paid daily. Deuteronomy 24, you're supposed to be paid by the day and receive your money that day, not no goddamn 2 weeks later. 2-3 weeks, got to put a week in the hole and shit. Nah, man, you got all these bills due. Deuteronomy 24 and 14, thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. There, go back to that strangers again. At his day thou shalt give him his hire. See, neither shall the sun go down upon it. And they kind of starting to turn into that now with these gigs. You do your little gig and you can cash out and receive the pay same day. For he is poor and setteth his heart upon it. Right, I need mine. Shit, got my house to feed. I'm already behind on the bill. I can't wait two more weeks. It says, lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sent unto thee. See, so that was big. You couldn't keep a man's money back. You got to pay him back. And even in the Roman Empire, they gave you your day's wages. But see, Babylon is on steroids, all these kingdoms, and their wickedness is amplified and multiplied here. Proverbs 31 and 9, speak up and judge fairly, and that's why it's going to get judged the way it's going to get judged. Proverbs 31 and 9, speak up and judge fairly, defend the rights of the poor and needy. You had a year of Jubilee and debt forgiveness, which is, I think that's where they get that 7-year, take things off your credit every 7 years. I think that's pretty much their version of the year of Jubilee. Leviticus 25, every 50 years, the year Jubilee requires that debts be forgiven, land returned to its original owners, and the poor allowed to reclaim what they lost. Let's pull that up. Leviticus 25. This is some good stuff right here. And let's see. And it's cold outside. Where does 7-year debt? I might need to change my search engine too. I've been using DuckDuckGo for a minute. But yeah, they got this 7-year thing. I don't know. I think it kind of came from that. Because, this is supposedly a Christian nation founded on Christian principles. Yeah. An ancient solution for a modern problem. And what does Jubilee mean? Let's look up the etymology of Jubilee. Yeah, this is good stuff. Hopefully it's edifying to somebody that's sincere that's listening. Jubilee year, formerly trumpet, ram's horn. The original Jubilee was a year of emancipation of slaves and restoration of lands to be celebrated every 50th year. It was proclaimed by the sounding of the ram's horn on the Day of Atonement. So anyway, the sabbatic year and the year of Jubilee. But in the 7 years should be a rest into the land. The law of redemption. Which I'm not going to read this all. You can read it for yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and read this, but yeah, so I'm gonna have to reread this, but yeah, for the most part, we kind of get the point. Deuteronomy 15, verse 1 and 2. Every seven, it was right here the whole time. Every 7 years, debts were to be canceled to prevent long-term poverty. Okay. So I was right. Yeah, that's where they get it from. They get it from the scriptures. Every 7 years, debts were to be canceled to prevent long-term poverty. Generosity. See, and this is just AI putting all this together, man. This is dope. So, the core message, the Bible's laws and teachings emphasize caring for the poor as moral and spiritual responsibility, reflecting the Most High's justice, mercy, and love. These principles call for generosity, fairness, and proactive steps to alleviate poverty within the community. And see, they don't want to eliminate poverty because poverty is needed. Because this is a wicked society. It's unrighteous. But the point is, Trading Places. This was a classic movie, and that's what's about to happen. There's going to be a swapping out of the tail and the head, and going back to that original precept, and we're in there that we're going to become the head again. Deuteronomy 28, and we'll close there. 28 and 13. It says, and the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only. Woo! And thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them. And this was the last blessing too. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day to the right hand or to the left to go after other gods to serve them. Man. So, yeah, I pray it was edifying lesson. Until the next time, I say shalom.